Good morning. We are very happy to have Mr. Prem Malik, Vice Chairman of NSL Textiles in our PhillipCapital annual conference. And he has a very wide experience in corporates as well as running own manufacturing unit, as well as has represented most of the prestigious industries bodies in India. He was also chairman of Confederation of Indian Textile Industry. And thank you very much, sir, for taking time out coming out for our conference. It will be a pleasure to have your views on outlook on Indian textile industry going forward.
See, so to be very honest, textile industry has been in a very roller coaster kind of a ride in the past. But take it from the year 1920 onwards, the industry has been doing very well. In fact, the growth that has taken place and the kind of the revenue expansion and the profits that some of the leading companies in India have made, it's enormous. The reason is very obvious that India has everything as far as fiber is concerned, all, whether it's man-made or it's natural. So we are not dependent upon any imports. So we are a domesticated industry in that sense, but for both domestic and international. Very large international exposure in terms of textile exports. This year we had an export about 43 billion, which is the second largest in the world after China. Of course, the gap between the two is very wide. But since the China is also going through a difficult phase, and this China plus opportunity is a great opportunity for India, especially in the value-added products, be it home textile, whether it may be apparel. So ready to wear and ready to use has a tremendous scope going forward. We were also lagging behind in technical textiles, and I think that now the time has come and the government has also recognized in a big way through the PLI scheme. So going forward, which is about $20 billion worth of market waiting as far as the technical textile is concerned, and India is poised to now take on that in a big way. So I think leaving aside the immediate future, which you can see at the moment, because of the raw material shortages and the commodities going up all over the world, including cotton, including polyester because of the oil, because of the war, that the Ukraine-Russia war, there has been some things on the horizons which are not favorable to the overall industry. So I'm not talking only textile. But those are the factors which one has to factor at this time, because leading to inflation. And so demand factor for the year 22-23 will be little subdued. But going forward, if you look at, India has a tremendous scope. I mean, the world looks at India today. You name a brand and he's there, and they want to be here.
Sure.
So that's the kind of the optimism the industry has and should have.
And how we are prepared to capitalize these opportunities like China Plus One, because historically we have seen some or other issues. So in terms of government policy, free trade agreement, or capacity expansion by private player, how much we are ready to grab this opportunity, or any suggestion from that?
I'll go one by one. If you look at from the government point of view, government has been very, very proactive. Let me tell you, this is the first time when the government believes that business needs to be encouraged, and they are taking tremendous interest in the growth of the industry, domestically and internationally. I mean, the kind of the target that the Prime Minister set for $400 billion worth of export, which we have practically achieved as a country, and going forward is going to be multifold over the years. So that's one that there is one that the government is giving various schemes, both in terms of PLI scheme, because if you look at it, we have to grow in the textile industry. It is a man-made fiber which is going to play a very vital role. And India's today's exports, whether in apparel or home textile or yarns, are mostly in cotton. So we are a cotton-dominated economy as far as exports are concerned. Domestically, it's the reverse. Domestically, we are majority is on man-made. Exports is on cotton. Now, so government has seen the opportunity that while the world is 30-32% in cotton, the 68-70% is man-made fiber. So the new incentive schemes like the PLI has been introduced, which is purely for apparel, technical textile, and man-made fabric. Certain categories have been identified, which are the very growth-oriented and import intensive. So those have been given. So I think as far as the government side is concerned, I think the atmosphere has been created by the government. They are also creating mega parks. There are also the state governments today are involved into the industry, and all the state governments where even they have the industry and not have an industry are today giving encouragement to textile. Look at even Bihar. Bihar doesn't have a raw material, doesn't have an industry, but they want to go into that. Look at Odisha, West Bengal, all the country, states, Telangana, Andhra, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, you name it, every state has its own textile policy, whereby those kind of benefits which they are extending are over and above the tough schemes and all that the central government has. So I think government is playing its part, industry is also playing its part, but I think the role of the industry is going to be much, much larger and bigger. That's your first question. The second is that if you look at the economy of scale, also has taken place in India. If you look at the past, the Indian textile industry used to have smaller units. We didn't have the mega units. But today you can boast of companies which is $1 billion plus companies in the country. And you can name them 8-10 of them today. So that's the kind of the scale that the industry is knowing has gone in, and further people are going in. Third thing which the industry has really seen is that value addition is and diversification are the two areas where we need to go much faster. So I think that's another area which we are taking steps. So I think taking all these into account, if we, and third of course is that you have to be quality oriented and you have to be time oriented. So in that respect, the textile industry is modernizing. If upscaling is quality through the modernization route, new capacities are coming in. So that way, I think the industry has a good scope going forward.
And if you can share your view on current situation in cotton in terms of pricing, availability, how serious that issue is for the cotton spinning and overall whole cotton supply chain in briefly, I think that will be helpful.
See, if you look at all these years, cotton was not an issue. In fact, the cotton was surplus and government India used to export a lot. One time we exported 10 million bales of cotton. This year we just exported 4.3 million bales. So raw material in India was sufficiently available. Only this year, because of the various weather conditions and the insecticides which had affected the crop size dropped by about 30-40 lakh bales compared to the estimates. Plus, as I said in the beginning, the commodities all over the world, people have taken hold of. So internationally, the prices went up from 75 US cents to a pound to 100 and today 160, 165. So if the international prices go up, the India has to follow that suit. But going forward, as I see that we are the largest acreage in the world, and there is also a likelihood that about 10% additional we are today at 123 lakh hectares which are into cotton. Maybe this season it will be 130 to 135, and lot of steps are being taken to augment the production further, because our yields are low. So we are now working on the increasing in the yield. I am myself the chairman of the city CDRA, which is a Cotton Development Research Association, and we are working in various states, and we have seen the scope. Like in Rajasthan, we started with 300 kilos per hectare. Today we are at 8 to 900 kilos.
Oh, that's great.
While the national average is only 480, 490.
Yeah.
So, and we are now second steps the country is going to take, and with the help of the various governments and the agriculture ministries, is that in an hectare, the plantation of India is very small, that we put hardly about 10-12,000 plants in an hectare. While if I compare it to our competitors like Brazil or US or
Even
other,
China has
in
huge.
China, there are 80,000 to 100,000 plants per hectare. So that is why their production is high. So you can see that there is a tremendous scope between from 500 to going to as high as 1,500 or 2,000, like Brazil have reached. Maybe the climatic conditions others being different, the rain issues may be different, the irrigation different. So all those things, even if we give discount, raising this level of 400, 500 kilo to 900,000 kilo over a period, I think is not a difficult task.
Got it. And thank you very much, sir, for sharing your views and coming to PhillipCapital conference. Thank you.
My pleasure.